Hello everybody and welcome to Going for Goldbridge. I hope you're doing well. We are here, what day are we on? What day are we on? But what I want to say is straight of all is, when is it going to end? Is it wrong to say that? But when is it going to end? It is wrong to say it because we're only at the beginning, but it's right to say it because you're acknowledging the deeper honesty within yourself. Look, we're seeing a lot of death at the moment. We know that. We're seeing it worldwide. We're seeing it in our own country. And we know why we're doing this. But when I hear things today about June, 6 months, I think, how are we going to do this? And I think it's one of the most honest things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. The blue tick brigade, just keep calm and carry on. No, we're being asked to we're being asked to do something, and our government's been quite good at acknowledging this. Unprecedented. We're being asked to stay inside and do absolutely no real interaction, day to day to day to day to day. Something that our whole lives is just not what we're told to do, and do it for weeks and weeks on end. And that week that's just gone, longest week I've ever had. That's the longest week I've ever had. And I've worked weeks in previous jobs where you're doing like 20-hour days and going home and that's a really long week, a very long week. So we'll be talking about that in a minute because I think it's I don't think it's selfish to say this. Of course, I'm not going to say I can't do 3 months of this because I can, I will, and I have to, and we all have to do that. But there was a part of me this morning that just thought, 3 months of this? Come on, 3 months of it. The novelty of the last week or two will wear off quite thin. And as I say, it's not that we're not going to do it because we are going to do it. It's just that nobody should underestimate that this is not going to be hard. I said this a couple of weeks ago when people wanted to shut the schools down. I said, I think you're rushing to do something because it's all the novelty of it and obviously the seriousness of it. But I said in 2 weeks' time of this, people are going to be running up the walls in relation to, it's not even that it's mental health or anything like that. It's the suppression of what your body and mindset tells you should be doing. And it's going to take some adjustment to get used to it. And we will do. But look, what I can tell you is, weekend-wise, it felt like a weekend to me. I hope it felt like a weekend to you. It felt like a weekend to me. Yesterday, had a Saturday night film, Knives Out. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Very, very good. A couple of longer walks with the family across the fields, which are just, literally a couple of minutes. We're quite lucky there. A couple of minutes away, there's like a nature reserve that we can walk around. So, you shouldn't be doing walks that are out your way. I saw one of the police forces with a drone showing people, driving to the Lake District for a walk. They shouldn't be doing that. And so, you've got to walk where you are at the end of the day. Did that, had the film last night and made it a weekend. So in the week, you're still in the same surroundings, but you make it different, like work and structure and things like that. So that was quite good. But it was good on Thursday night. I said on Thursday night I had a drink and a Skype chat with some family. On Friday night I had a Skype chat with a mate of mine, my best man at my wedding actually. Lives over in Ireland, different situation. We were having a couple of beers and we were having a chat. And I always think about funny stories for these shows and I try and bring one in. I've got a hat trick for you here. Because we used to work together in the early noughties over in Dublin. And we were a little bit naughty as well over in Dublin because we're quite similar personalities, we've got quite similar sense of humours, and we both were quite belligerent towards the job that we had. We basically worked in an office, which even we said on Friday night was like The Office. Like a lot of offices in the early noughties were like The Office, whether the American Office or the UK Office with David Brent or Michael Scott. They based that was very true to what offices were like in the early noughties, and maybe they're like that now. I don't know. I don't really work in them, but we worked in one that was very much like that. And there was office relationships, there was banter, there was this, that, and the other. And me and him were just like quite belligerent to this. We were, obviously quite young then. I think we were in our like late teens, early 20s, in our first proper serious job, and we just used to take the piss. And it was funny some of the things that you used to get. You used to get like at 10 o'clock every morning, a coffee trolley would come around with a coffee lady. It was her job. Like she used to go. We had about 5 floors. She was the coffee lady. She'd go up to each floor and you'd go and get a coffee. And there was this guy, I mean, rest in peace, he's probably dead now because he was always down the pub, and this was 20 years ago, and he must have been about 55 then. So, well, no, he might still be alive. I hope you are. If you are watching, you're about to get a little bit angry because he used to get very angry. He used to get a red face and get very angry. And he had this real pet hate, which was there was on every floor of the office there was a little canteen where you could wash your pots, whatever, and there was a sink. and he would you just hear him nearly, you know, a couple of times. You just hear this feck. They don't in Ireland. They don't say fuck. They say feck, like it's actually a word, feck, and they'll go feckin' hell. And it's so funny because when I moved over to Ireland, some of like the older people, like in your office and that, like they'd go, "Oh, feckin' hell," and I'd be like, "What? That's a bit." Well, it's a bit bloody steep, because if you say fucking hell over in the UK, that's one of the big swear words. But over there, everybody uses feck. Oh, feckin' hell. You've seen Mrs. Brown's Boys. So I always struggled with it a bit. I never said feck. I'd say fuck. But it's not, they treat feck as like bloody hell, but it sounds very close to fuck. So he would actually use the U word. So the canteen, the little kitchen was quite close to where our desks were, and you'd be working away and you just hear fucking hell. This tea bag's in the sink again. Fucking tea bags in the sink. The animals, the fucking animals. And then he'd just storm out back to his floor, back to his desk. So he had a real pet hate about tea bags in the sink, to such points we would and did bought a big bag of tea bags that were separate to the tea trolley, and at various points in the week we'd slip into the kitchen when we knew around about 10 minutes before he would be going in there. So as soon as he got himself off a cup of tea, whether it's afternoon or morning, we knew he'd always go and rinse his cup out. So we'd purposely then go into the kitchen about 10 minutes before, run the tap under a couple of tea bags and just chop him in the sink, and then we'd sit down, watch him go walking through, and it was one of the high points of the day because we could see him walking all the way down where our desks were, and we were opposite each other, and we'd just get our heads down, like pretend like we're looking like that, and he'd walk in and he'd go, "Fucking hell, this tea bag's in the fucking sink again, the fucking animals," and it was just brilliant. And he never figured out that he was being bantered. I love that sort of banter. Some people would say it's bullying. He never knew it was. It was just banter, and it was funny. So that was funny. Another one that we did, we were talking about these on Friday night. I'd forgotten all about them. There's loads, but another one was that on our floor just outside the office door there was the toilets. So in the toilets there was only like a couple of urinals, and I think there was one toilet to have a dump, and you could never have a peaceful dump in there, because and I know this sounds crude, but some people do have a dump at work. You have an urge, especially if you had a pint of Guinness at lunch, and you'd go in there, and the toilet itself, cubicle, was quite nice, as cubicles go. And don't lie, because blokes talk about this all the time. I remember working in the police force, and there was the management floor in Birmingham City Centre, and the toilet there was brilliant. It was like virtually marbled floor, and it would be like, if you needed a dump, you'd try and slip down there if you could get past like the superintendent's office and go and have a dump in there. So these are things that were discussed. Anyway, you go this job over in Dublin. You'd go for a dump, and every time you just sat down, just about to relax with the paper, and somebody'd come in and they'd be just put you off. And we were sat there, we were talking about this one lunchtime. We said, well, wouldn't it be great if you just had that to yourself? You could just go and have a dump in peace for 10 minutes and read the paper. So I'm not going to take credit for this. My mate took credit for this. He comes over from the printer and he goes, "There you go." And I says, "What's that?" He says, "Look at it." And it was out of order. He says, "Go and stick that on that toilet door." So I did it, and we had the toilet to ourselves for a week, because everybody, obviously, you walk up to an out of order sign, you go upstairs. Of course, what we did when we needed to go to the toilet, you just make sure no one was around, slip into the toilet, you've got it all to yourself. Out of order sign on the toilets. We had our own toilet for a week before somebody on the office floor came out and said, "Do you know why that toilet?" Or one of the managers says, "When are they fixing that toilet?" And I don't know, because again, where our seats were, there was a door into the office which we could see, and next to that was the canteen, so we could see people going through to go to the toilet. And the brilliance was, you'd see this is just how my sense of humour works. You'd see somebody walking up to to go to the outer door to go to the toilet. They'd see the out of order sign, and they'd just go and go upstairs, and you'd be like, "This is brilliant. It's so simple. There's nothing wrong with the toilet. We put a sign on there." Anyway, he went and phoned somebody up, and the maintenance guy came down. He goes, "Oh, I don't know anything about it. Who's put And then an email went round. Somebody's obviously played a joke with the out of order sign, Can they will they own up to it now? Otherwise, investigations will take place. And it's a bit like Gareth Keenan investigates. We were just sat there at lunchtime saying, yeah, I'll be sending an email when I get back. Yeah, we fancied a private shit every time we wanted to go, so we just put out an order sign there. Please, please, please give us a written warning. So obviously we never did reply, but we were laughing like, what's your investigation? You send it off to CSI for fingerprints. I mean, yeah, we never did get rumbled for that. We just did. But, you know, that place has been shut down for 10 years, so it doesn't matter. I've got loads of stories of pranks that we used to do as well. There was another one, I'm on a roll now. There was another one where accounts, sales, we didn't like sales. And there was a story I told before about a fight at Christmas with sales. Anyway, every couple of weeks on a Friday night, because it is Ireland, it is Dublin, we'd go out for drinks, and our section was the popular section. We were the ones that used to go out every week. But every couple of weeks, most other floors would come, and it would always be arranged by our team where we were going. So you'd get a phone call on a Friday afternoon saying where you're going, and we'd go like Samsara, Hairy Lemon, Sinnets, Break for the Border, whatever. And my mate was like, I can't bloody stand sales. You know, I don't even mind them coming later when we've had a few pints, but like, I don't really want them there at all. But I don't want them there at the start being leery with their wallets because they work in sales. So I was like, I'll take the credit for this one. I said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll when they ring down, I'll make sure I get the phone call, and I'll send them down the road to Samsara when we're going to start the night in Hairy Lemon. And so they phoned down, and they were like, oh, well, where are we going this week now? I says, yeah, down Samsara. We've got to work a little bit late, so we normally finish at 5. We've got to work a little bit late, so we say 6 o'clock in Samsara? Yeah, great, see you later. Okay, bye. I says, high five. I've just bought us at least 2 hours. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, well, we're leaving at 5, and they're going to Samsara's because they're going to finish at 4:30, because that's what sales always did. They finished a little bit earlier than us. So they're going to go off wherever they're going to go. Then they're going to go Samsara's at 6. Then they're going to leave it at least half an hour before they drop us a text or something like that. And that gives us 2 hours, doesn't it? Anyway, we ignored the text. I don't think we ever saw them that night, but, you know, that's by the by. And it's not bullying again, because there's a group of them. It's not one person. It's not victimisation. You can't bully a sales department. It was just a banter. So, yeah, there's lots more of those. There's lots more of those. But that's sort of a taste of the sort of banter I like. I like that sort of... The tea bags in the sink is still my favourite one. Fucking hell! They've done it again! You just wait for it. You'd watch him walking down the office. The tea bags are in the sink. There's no way he's going to walk in and go, oh... Just put them in the bin. It's an irritant to him. The only concern was that we didn't want him to keel over with a heart attack one day, because he did get very mad about them. But you'd see him walking down to rinse his tub, that you'd planted the evidence. As soon as he walked, he'd spot it from like a few metres from the thing and go... Sometimes you'd hear the mug slam down on the side as well. That would always be... The hardest thing was to just actually... The whole office would laugh at it, so you could laugh quite loud anyway. But you'd hear the clunking of the thing on the side. Fucking hell! There's tea bags in the sink again! The fucking animals! And it makes me laugh now. It does. It really, really makes me laugh. Anyway, that's the banter for today. What else did I want to talk about with you today? Yes, look, yeah, that was a bit of light relief, wasn't it? That was a bit of light relief. So yeah, back to reality. There goes gravity. Yeah. We're in this situation. I often, and I'm sure you're the same, I often do sit here and think, what's going on? What is going on? How is this happening? What is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. This life we're living is crazy. This world I've lived in all my life so far, every year has become more advanced. Every year the world has become smaller. Every year, technology gets better and better. I mean, I used to play a Mega Drive. If I compared a Mega Drive to a bloody PS4, the difference in the depth in games, everything gets better and better. And then you go and get something that really should have been from the last one like this was the Spanish flu in 1918, and now we're getting it in 2020. As I've said before, why shouldn't we? You know, we are rentees of this planet. It's not ours. And it can spit us up and chew us out any time. And I think at the moment we are fighting something that we just simply cannot deal with. You know, even a cure takes so long to go through the process. And yeah, we've just got to deal with it. And look, the very sobering point is here that we have to do this. Of course, we have to do this. We've got to stay at home. You know, People are dying. We've had doctors dying on the front line. We've had younger people dying. I know the majority are over 70s with underlying health conditions, but anybody can die from this. So we've got to do this. But how long will it go on for, and how easy it's going to be to do? It isn't. You know, we've had the clocks go forward. I looked outside today and it's like 7 o'clock at night and it's light, and you think this is normally the start of winter to spring and summer. You know, you're starting to think, yeah, holidays and festivals and Euros and all that, and that's not going to happen this year, is it? It's not going to happen. I mean, is anyone going on holiday this year? One, you might not be able to, and two, would you risk it anyway? You know, you might be in quarantine for 2 weeks. So it's a very, very weird time. We've got to adjust to it. How long will it last? I still look at this in a positive way and think that when you hit the curve, surely it's coming down. Like, are we going to have 2 months of people just going up and up and up? I don't think so. I think that April is a big month. And we're going into April this week. We know these weeks are going to be long weeks because that's just the way it's going to be, because you don't have any mind break to go training, to go gym, to go pub, you know, to go work. You haven't got any of that. It's all self-contained, isn't it? And your life is self-contained, which is why I think it's important to do different things amongst having routine, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, look, how long will it go on for? I still think that I think the hardest bit's this bit. I said this to somebody the other day. The hardest bit is this bit, because we don't know how long, and we're still within touching distance of familiarity. I think when we've been doing this for 2 or 3 weeks, and we might, or 3 or 4 weeks, and we might be conceivably halfway through, you've done it for 3 or 4 weeks, and you think, well, another 3 or 4 weeks, this will start to get better. At the moment, we're still looking back at the nicer times, when in the future, we just don't know where it is. And I think when we've got that, the brain will compartmentalise that better. But it's going to be hard, and I think that's why you've got to be open about how hard it is, because what the last thing we want is people just going, fuck this, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to get in my car and go and see my family. I'm going to get in the car and go and, you know, whatever people are doing that they shouldn't be doing. So that's the thing. We've got to be together on it, and therefore you've got to be open about the things that are bothering you. And yeah, for me, I'm just like, how long is it going to last? How long is it going to last? You know, I don't know. But the main thing is that, as I've said before, this is a worldwide problem. I think if it was just the UK, I'd be a little bit more concerned as to how long it might last, because it's our problem, and you know, the rest of the world could still just say no one from the UK is coming into our countries, we're carrying on as normal. So the fact that the whole world's dealing with this, and it's hurting the whole world in relation to, most importantly, loss of life, then the fact that the world's on pause and all the issues that causes financially, I hope that, you know, there will be plenty of people thinking outside the box of ways that we can, because everybody wants life back to normal. Like, the people who are suffering with it, the countries and economies that are suffering with it, everyone that's shut down. There's nobody who's sat there going, oh, this is great, let's carry it on, let's all hide in our houses while people are dying. Everybody wants to find a solution, and this at the moment is the best solution. But in a month's time, it might be a little bit different. I do think that one thing I would say, and I don't want to get into it because it's too political, is that I just think it's a shame the information that we got from China must be flawed. How can China, a place that's got hundreds of millions of people living in it, massively bigger than Italy and Spain, have less deaths? And this was being reported in China in like November, December time apparently, and they sort of didn't realise what it was. So how can a country that didn't realise what it was, didn't lock down straight away, have less deaths than countries that knew it was coming? Yeah, what China did this year in January in Wuhan and shutting it down was good, but this was there in potentially December, and it's not left Wuhan. It's not gone to Beijing or other areas, or Shanghai. It stayed there apparently, and they've had less deaths. So I just think that the information that's come from China, for whatever reason, and it might just be as simple that they're embarrassed, they didn't want it to get out. But if we did have very accurate information, then we would have a better idea what to do with it. I think what's happening with the rest of the world now is we're looking at Italy and Spain whilst dealing out with our problem whilst we're behind them, and analysing that to try and get the answer. I don't think we can get the answer from what happened in China, because I can't see how we've had the full picture from there, which is a shame. So I think that in a month's time we'll have a month's more evidence to look at, and you know, evidence in any problem helps you solve a problem. And at the moment, I just think we're very, very early in this. And but you've got to acknowledge how you're feeling. And the most important thing is to discuss how you're feeling, because what you can't do, you can't get into a mindset of, I can't deal with this anymore, I'm going out. But there's not much to go out to anyway. There is no pubs, there is no cinemas, there is no football. You know, there is no one who's going to really go and play football with you. So you've got to get through this, because we're all in the same boat. And for me, my tip is to structure your life, to have normality in your life as much as possible, but very important, to structure your days. Like Monday to Friday to me is still a working week, and Saturday, Sunday is a weekend. So I try and structure them differently and do things differently within those, even though the walls I'm living in are the same. There is no work office I can go to. There are no meetings I can go to. There is no pub I can go to. You know, the things that I would normally do, I can't do. So it's about, I'm not telling people to go and build a pub in your garden. You might want to do that, but yeah, structuring your week is good. And I had quite a productive week last week, so hopefully this week I'm going to think of jobs I can do again. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stories. Subscribe to if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Smash a like. I do these every day, Monday to Friday. At the weekends, I sometimes take a day off, but I hope you're all doing well. Stay safe, stay at home, self-isolate from everybody that you can do as much as possible, and we'll get through this quicker. That's the solution, isn't it? Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.